Hello, everyone. My name is Peter Danzig, and I am a therapist here at the Mazzoni Center, as well as a certified personal trainer and health specialist with the American Council on Exercise. Today, we wanted to make sure that we were able to focus a little bit on some somatic experiencing, which means some of the work that we can do with our bodies during this very difficult time. During COVID-19, a lot of clients have reached out and said that they feel a sense of loss of control, an area that is really difficult for us as a queer population. We often don't feel like we are in control of our bodies. And then to have some of our daily routines, jobs, connections kind of stripped away leaves us feeling like we don't have control over that. And one of the things that I know helps me, and that might help you, is one thing I do have control over is choice right now when it comes to my body. And this is not stating that you should move if you don't want to, but if you're feeling like you could use a little bit more somatic experiencing in your life, a little more movement, today I'm going to show you some of the functional movement training that we start with clients as a personal trainer. There are 4 functional movements that allow people to move in what we call their EDL or their everyday life. It helps to support basic mechanisms of the body, helps to build a baseline of strength, and sometimes it's fun to master an exercise that you thought you knew well, and maybe could do a little bit better. As a trainer, even years later, I'm still working on my push-up. It's never perfect, and that's okay. And it's also all right now if you don't want to move. And this video is not insinuating that you have to. But if you're looking for a little bit more movement in your life and you could use just a helping hand, I'm hoping this video might support that. One of the things I want to address really quickly is just this idea of ambiguous loss and control. So ambiguous loss is a loss where we don't necessarily define it as a big T trauma, but it could be feelings of loss of connection with friends, of a sense of routine. It could be a job or a special date, a graduation, anything that you have been looking forward to and you're grieving the sense of inability to do it or experience it. That sense of loss without closure, especially during COVID-19, is very common and expected. And you should feel valid in those feelings. You should allow yourself time to grieve them. And there is a list of resources at the beginning and the end of this video that Mazzoni has compiled, in which we hope that you'll maybe take with you and take advantage of. And if nothing else, please reach out to our staff. We are still committed to our mission of ensuring the best health for our queer populations in Philadelphia. And as a member of the behavioral health team, I want to thank you for your strength and your camaraderie in facing this difficult time. So when you're going to start some of these exercises, the first thing I'd like to address is people's squats. So I'm going to walk you through your perfect squat form. All right, what you want to make sure that you're doing is with a squat, you really want to make sure that as you're standing to the side that you can maybe check a mirror or you can set your phone down on the ground. And when you're squatting, one of the things that's important to remember is that you should be able to wiggle your toes, sit back into the heels, and that you should never have your knees past your toes. So if I am going to adjust this little video here, if I'm going for a squat, one of the things that I tell clients is you want to start with an anterior tilt of your hips, set your hips sending the energy backwards. And as you squat down, you're going down to a 90-degree angle. This is as far as you need to go. If this is where you got it, that's perfect too. One of the things that you would notice is that my knees are not in front of my toes. So I'm not going like this. I see a lot of people start this way. No, you want to start with an anterior tilt, send it back, and then as you're coming up, you want to squeeze your glutes and your quads and send that energy straight up and down. I like to use a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's your first functional movement. And what that supports, glute support helps people working through lifting packages. So if you're lifting anything heavy at home right now, make sure you're using those glutes and squatting and picking up correctly. It also helps going up the stairs and other such activities. The next thing I'm going to show you is your perfect push-up form. So this can be done on the knees. It can be done without the knees. One of the things you want to do is you want to cup your hands ever so lightly, not super cupped, but kind of flat. Place them down on the ground under the shoulder. You come up on your feet, and a lot of people bow out really far or really narrow. One of the things you want to kind of have is a happy distance between the two. So you're going to send that energy directly back and forward. We'll come back here so you can see that better. Back and forward. It's a misnomer that you have to touch the ground and push yourself up. It's really hard on the joints. If all you've got right now is this, that's great. I tell people take a little bit of time to work slowly. Then maybe next week you'll have a little bit more motion and a little bit more motion after that. If you're going to go down on the knees, one of the things we tell people is send that butt back, and you don't want to let your abdominals kind of sink down. You really want to send them up into the ceiling. And again, same motion, keeping that core engaged. The next activity, a lot of people, when they're working on their upper body strength, asking about a plank. It's dreaded. It's so annoying, but so fulfilling when you start to add time. It's one of those things that we can quantify. So if you can do one for 10 seconds today, maybe next week you'll get to 15, 20. So you start with those forearms down on the ground or the hands directly where they were in the push-up, and there's two variations. So you're here, or you can come down. As long as those shoulders are above those forearms, I see a lot of this. That's a downward dog, not a plank. And I see a lot of this with that lower lumbar spine sinking. You want to send that up and keep your core engaged. Whenever you're tired, come down on your knees for a few seconds and then resume back up. So we've got our squat, we've got our push-up, we've got our plank. What is left? So one of the other exercises that I like to make sure that people understand is a tricep dip. So your triceps are a huge amount of your arm. Society focuses a lot on our biceps, but they're actually a much smaller structure of muscle comparatively to our tricep, which takes up over 75% of our arm. It's one of those muscles right here. It helps to engage us in lifting and pull exercises, which are really important to know. So when you're doing a tricep dip, there's a couple of variations. One of the things I tell people is find a chair. Right now I'm sitting on an exercise bench, but you can do this from a small chair at home. You walk your feet out slightly and you keep your hips up, and then you're going to send those arms slightly back, and then you're pushing up. If you want to get a little deeper, that's perfectly fine. Up and down. Okay, some people don't have that. That is perfectly okay. One of the things you can also do is take a can. So I'm going to use a weight today, but you could take a set of canned food if that one feels scary or inaccessible to you. You can bring it behind the head, bring it up and down. My elbows are locked into place, so I see a lot of people kind of dip forward. Keep those elbows back and up. So those are 4 of the functional movements that we use in exercise science for all humans. If you need any variations or you're looking for something else that might be helpful to you, please reach out. I'm happy to answer questions. You can find me on social media or on the Mazzoni Center's website. Why these 4 movements, though? Again, they're the 4 movements of functional human abilities to just kind of engage and support us during our everyday life. So right now, you might feel a little bit more winded going up the stairs than you normally do. That's okay. You might feel really exhausted in your normal exercise routine if you're a really athletic person. That's okay. One of the things that I work on with a lot of my clients is this idea of moving large mountains with small steps. So if right now, every day you're able to get up and just spend some time learning these 4 functional movements, or if you're an avid athlete or gym goer and you're losing a little bit of that time right now, focusing on the basics is always helpful. It's restorative, it's engaging, and it's very, very much needed, I think, throughout your entire physical life. And these 4 functional movements, I hope, will help you to gain a little bit of control and a sense of acceptance of your body and some of the things that it can do. And if you need any further support, you can check out the Mazzoni Center's website. We have some articles up there on ambiguous loss, as well as the effects of social distancing. And like I said, if you need any other further supports, please check out our series right now of resources that will be listed at the end of this video. I'd like to thank you very much for just allowing me the time to come into your home digitally and just spend a little time discussing kinesiology and body science with you, i.e., working out, and just some of the small things that you can do every day. And usually I tell people one set of each of those exercises, 10 or 12 reps a day is just enough, and the plank maybe 30 seconds to keep your body engaged and continuing to work for you during this difficult time. If you're feeling a sense of loss of motivation, that is to be expected, and I hope you'll give yourself a little bit of grace and know that we're here to help in any way we can. I'd like to thank you for your time. Again, my name is Peter Danzig. I'm a therapist here at the Mazzoni Center. My pronouns are he, they, and I hope that you find some movement today. And if you have any suggestions for things you want to see, please reach out to us. We're here to help in any way we can. Take care. Bye-bye.